I look at you, and I see someone who knows the meaning of necessity.
Well, I'm an addict.
I'm a junkie, okay? Trust me. I have a limited but refined skill set.
So you'd be happy.
I don't know what that is.
I came face to face with one of them, and I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel hate. I just knew I wasn't gonna die. I've been living this for a long time, and now everyone is catching up with me. I will not die.
Nick Clark was the heart and soul of Fear the Walking Dead, and with his death, the show died along with him. This beloved character was sadly killed off at the start of season 4 due to the actor Frank Delane wanting to leave the show, and I'm going to be going over some of the reasons to why he's my favourite character in the whole Walking Dead universe, and why this death ruined the show for me. The character of Nick Clark is, in my opinion, what made Fear the Walking Dead a really good show in the early seasons. Nick is this 19-year-old kid who is in and out of rehab and a drug addict, who is very funny and a kind-hearted soul, but he just wasn't built for this world. But that all changes when the apocalypse breaks out, and for the first time in his life, Nick feels a sense of belonging, like he was built for this world. Nick is such an interesting character as he is charismatic and charming, but also a complete stranger to his family, as they haven't seen Nick sober in years, and his relationship with Alicia is so compelling. You can see, and she even states, that when they were kids, she really admired and looked up to Nick, but when he started to become a junkie, Madison started to put all her attention into trying to help Nick fight his addiction, that in turn, she pushed away her daughter, which made her feel isolated. And this creates a really interesting and real family dynamic. This is something that could happen in the real world, and these feel like real emotions that the characters are feeling. Madison states that Nick's smile could light up a room and his mood could bring it down. Nick is not only a beacon of hope in this world, but he also isn't a sheep, and he will stand for what he believes in, even if that means leaving his own family to wander the world all by himself. Another feature of Nick is his relatability, especially to the young adults watching the show. The average age of Fear the Walking Dead viewers is 16 to 34, and we have never seen a character have the depth and ideology of Nick at such a young age. Let's take the main show for example. How many kids have been quote-unquote main characters on there? There's only really Carl, Enid and Judith. I mean, these are 3 cases we have seen them all grow up from genuine kids. All the other characters such as Rick and Daryl, Michonne and Negan, and the list goes on, these are characters that are all literally 35 plus, most of them having children. And this is by no means a dig at the main show whatsoever, but none of them are very relatable to maybe, the younger generation from the ages of 16 to let's say 26, Most of them don't have kids, most of them aren't that age. So seeing someone on screen like Nick, who is a similar age, is refreshing and feels very different from the main show, as he fits a niche, one in which many of the viewers of the show found refreshing, seeing someone their age traverse this post-apocalyptic world. Now, I'm not a recovering drug addict, but I find myself relating to Nick in a lot of ways, which makes me really admire the character and makes me think if a zombie outbreak really did happen, Nick is the kind of person I believe I would act most like across the whole Walking Dead franchise. He is a lone wolf type of survivor who doesn't mind his own company and surviving by himself, and he's also a leader. He makes big decisions in group settings, and he's a very likable character, and that's why many people stopped watching the show after his death. Nick was the heart and soul of Fear the Walking Dead, and he was a big reason why fans tuned in to the early seasons of the show. However, in the main show, after the shocking and pointless death of Carl, Scott Gimple was fired as the showrunner from the main show. He then became the executive producer of the Walking Dead franchise, and the first thing he did in this role was fire Dave Erickson, the showrunner from Fear the Walking Dead. Now, you might be asking, why am I bringing this up? But in Dave Erickson's original plan, the show would run for 7 seasons, and Madison would actually become the main villain of the show, which would represent how a normal person would descend into these primal ways. And the final plan was for Nick to actually kill his own mother. And I think if you watch the early seasons of the show, you can definitely start to see these storylines starting to come into play. Nick was meant to be the main character, but after Dave Erickson found out in season 3 that he would not be returning, he killed off complex characters like Troy, as he believed Scott Gimple wouldn't be able to understand them and do them justice. But apparently Troy comes back in season 8 anyway. I don't know, I haven't watched the final season yet, but the fact he survived 2 hits with a hammer to the skull and being blown up is absolutely mental. But with Dave Erickson gone, Frank Delane, the actor who played Nick, finally asked to be written out of the show, so ultimately they killed him off. And this drastically affected the viewership of the show. Over 4 million people tuned in for the season 4 premiere. But after Nick died just 3 episodes later, the viewership for the rest of season 4 averaged out at just 1.7 million live viewers per episode. And just to really write home the point, all 3 episodes with Nick in them averaged over 3 million live viewers. Nick was never meant to die, so it's such a shame to be making this video in the first place. I really would have liked to see Dave Erickson's original plan and see how the original 7 seasons would have planned out. Frank Delane is such an amazing actor who acted Nick to perfection, and without Nick, the show it just kind of becomes like the main show with less likeable characters. The death of Nick lost the main selling point that was going for Fear the Walking Dead, and with this, it lost its spark. And this is when the show really started to go downhill. Season 1 to 3 of Fear the Walking Dead felt like a standalone TV show. That's how good they were in my opinion. And it's such a shame that it's come to this. It's crazy to think of the snowball effect Carl's death had on this show, and it makes Nick's death even sadder. I'm not even gonna lie, I cried when Nick died. That's how much I love this character. I can't believe I've just admitted that on the internet for free, but it's true. Nick Clark was Fear the Walking Dead, and they really made the character invincible in the early seasons, which just proves the massive plans that Dave Erickson had for this amazing character. And it's such a shame that we will never see Nick Clark again on the big screen. Thanks for watching, and a huge thanks for all the support on the last video. It really means the world to me, so please like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.